TikTok is a wolf in sheep's clothing. The last few years have been a perfect storm. A perfect storm for all of us to become addicted to something. We've been locked in our houses, scared to leave, scared to see our friends and family. We needed something to keep our minds busy. Along comes TikTok, a short video app that dominates the lives of young people. It is used by Gen Zers born between 1997 and 2012 more than Instagram. The majority of the users are between the ages of 10 and 19. The app itself has been downloaded over 3 billion times and 60% of the users are female. On average, a user spends 52 minutes per day on the app, forever scrolling, hunting that perfectly designed dopamine drip. People are so desperate for that hit. On average, a user opens the app 38 to 55 times, constantly checking it, looking for that hit. It almost sounds like a smoker, forever lighting up. Every single day, children on the app between the ages of 4 to 15 spend 80 minutes on that app. This is consuming a generation. This generation is addicted. My name's Isaac Butterfield, and let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, this is the most serious video I'll ever make, because TikTok is ruining a generation. It's coming into all of our lives and it is trying to destroy us from within. That is not being hyperbolic. I genuinely believe that there should be more distrust in the TikTok app itself. It is a dodgy app. It is not safe. It is not good. And you should be aware of what is happening with it. Children all over the world are so addicted to this app, they cannot put it down. That means a generation is coming through the ranks of age with this fucking thing built into their minds. They cannot get away from it. That is dangerous. It's dangerous if it's any app. But it's even more dangerous when that app is owned by someone who could very well be, one day, our enemy. Let me read you this and see if you agree. TikTok is designed to provide a dopamine rush, to give you a sense of well-being and euphoria that you aren't finding anywhere else. It's about relief from stress. People that are doing it tough want to find a way to get away from these troubles, and that's why TikTok is incredibly addictive. But here's the thing, that's not a quote about TikTok at all. That is a quote about poker machines, pokies, or the fucking card slotty machines, whatever you call them in your part of the world. That's what that quote is actually about. But it sounds exactly like TikTok. It sounds like it's from the pages of a medical journal talking about young people being addicted to TikTok. Just like the pokies, forever scrolling, forever hitting that button, all that shit. Being sucked towards it like it's got its own gravitational pull. The noises, the sounds, the lights, everything. It is designed to get you hooked. But aren't we hooked to our phones anyway? Absolutely, we are. And there's so much content on people's phones that should be worrying. But it's not so much about the content that people are watching, it's more or less about who's behind it. Who's behind the algorithm and who benefits from you pressing download and consuming the content through the app known as TikTok. In 2020, then President Donald Trump signed an executive order designed to ban TikTok in the USA. Many people were mad at him because, well, they were mad at anything that Trump did. That side of the populace, the left side of politics, hated everything that Trump even thought about. And that's why when he went to remove TikTok, they saw that as an attack on them. And you better believe it, ladies and gents, the reason that TikTok is still around is because of the far left people. And that is why TikTok skews so far to the left. Now, I would say this, right? I am on TikTok. Why? Because I'm a proud capitalist and I'm trying to fucking sell tickets to shows. That's the only reason. But also, this is how far left TikTok is. I have been permanently banned from TikTok a total of 5 times in the last 40 days. I am not welcome there. That is very obvious. I am not a part of the agenda that they're pushing. And the agenda is one of division. That is the truth. But that's not why Trump tried to get rid of it, tried to ban it. It's because of the connection between TikTok and the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP. The ban failed from Trump, and TikTok is alive and well, as we know. But just 2 weeks ago, Federal Communications Commissioner Brandon Carr reignited the call for a ban. Now, if America did this, a lot of people would follow suit, and it would be a dramatic change. I don't know what young women would do without being able to shake their assholes and sell themselves on OnlyFans. The pay gap would return, but it wouldn't be an unprecedented move. India has banned it, for example, as well as 50 other Chinese communist apps back in 2020. And India stated that they did this because it's a threat to national security. Is that over the top? Do we need to do this here? We know that ByteDance, who owns TikTok, is owned by the Chinese Communist Party. But do we really need to ban it because the Chinese Communist Party is out to get us? Strangely enough, the most interesting country where TikTok is banned is China itself. And when I say that, it still exists somewhat. It's called, I fucking forgot, Douyin. That's the Chinese version, but it's nothing like the Western version. The Western version, as I said, it's all assholes, tits, and just shit. Douyin in China limits kids to a maximum of 40 minutes per day. 20% of the videos on Douyin are known as pan knowledge, designed to push personal skills and promote personal growth through categories like life skills, science, and education. Douyin encourages growth and achievement. If you're under the age of 14, you can only access the app between 6 p.m. after school and 10 p.m. at bedtime. The app itself is very nationalistic. It pushes the military value of society, and this is in a country that is run by people who, I know there's a lot of young people out here watching this that might know someone who calls himself a communist. Communism is not good. Okay, do you understand that? These people are in charge of these people. They're brainwashing these people into serving the state, doing whatever they say, and they've got a fucking dictator in control. And TikTok, Douyin, in China right now is pushing that onto the youth. It's a perfect delivery method. It's perfect. It's in the hands of children all day, and you are pushing whatever message you want. What if they were doing the same thing to the Western world? This mouthpiece for communism, TikTok, Douyin, is a dystopian app. It is Big Brother. It is literally watching everything you do. In the novel 1984, which sits right there, there is, if you've never read it, when people walk into their homes, there is cameras, everyone is being watched at all times. And horrifyingly, this is what TikTok does to you. TikTok steals more data and information about you than any other app on your phone. TikTok may collect biometric identifiers and biometric information from its users' content. This includes things like face prints and voice prints. TikTok knows the device you're using, your location, IP address, search history, the content of your messages, what you're viewing, and for how long. TikTok collects everything that's stored on your device. TikTok is so dodgy, people don't trust it to the point where the Pentagon has told its employees to delete it and their children to delete it, so why haven't we? Is this China infiltrating the West by destroying a generation? Is that what they're planning to do here? If so, they're doing it well. They're taking advantage of something kids in the Western part of the world love. Us Westerners are fame whores. Kids in the Western world are literally growing up wanting to be influencers, which is fucking horrendous, all right? That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean a thing. And then conversely, there's kids in China growing up wanting to represent and fight for their nation in the military. That's terrifying. That is a generation of children who are more obsessed with their pronouns in the West versus a fucking generation of kids who learn how to sharpshoot at the age of 15. That's horrifying. And TikTok facilitates this love or this obsession with being famous so well. It allows anyone to go viral, right? It is designed to let one video go really viral and the next one not to go as viral, so you chase that virality. Like chasing the dragon with heroin. You keep providing all this information and then everyone else goes and watches it for 50 minutes a day whilst they're harvesting more information off you. So what the fuck is this? Is this the first move on the chessboard of World War III? Is a pawn finally moving? Is it some attempt to push the social credit score onto the Western world? What is this? If you don't know what the social credit score in China is, it's fucking horrifying. The Chinese people are monitored daily, right? Like they have a photo of your face and they track you wherever you go and they watch you. And if you do things that are dodgy or they're not seen to be in line with the powers that be, the communist government, you will lose points. Okay? And if you lose points, things like water cost more. Things like electricity cost more. The internet, you might lose access to it. The more points you have, the more trustworthy and the better your life will be. The less you have, the harder your life will be, and you're basically seen as an outsider. Turn bad enough, you may even be blacklisted, which will see you being thrown in jail or punished in some way. Fine. It also makes the government very angry at you. This is all in a country that has committed crimes against humanity, against the Uyghurs and other Turkic Muslims in Jiangxi. Abuses committed included mass arbitration, detention, torture, enforced disappearances, mass surveillance, cultural and religious persecution, separation of families, forced returns to China, forced labor and sexual violence, and violation of reproductive rights. Yeah, you probably don't want to get on the wrong side of a communist regime. But yeah, well done to all the fucking communists in Australia. Good on you guys. In 2018, former Vice President of the US, Mike Pence, sounded the alarm bells about China's social credit system, stating that China's rulers aim to implement an Orwellian system premised on controlling virtually every facet of human life, the so-called social credit score. Is this what TikTok is? Is it a technology they're trying to use once they take over the West? I don't fucking know. And with China stating they want to be the world leader in artificial intelligence by 2030, this is all scary. Maybe we should be a little bit alarmed, just a little bit. I don't know what they're doing. Are they just doing it to harvest information? Maybe. Are they doing it to learn about our society? Maybe. Are they doing it to deliberately put us against each other politically? Maybe. Sure, it looks bad when you look at it as a whole, but when you zoom in, that's when it looks absolutely fucking terrifying. Let's look at who it's really affecting now. Gen Zers. To use an Australian term, Gen Zers are completely fucked. Fucked. Absolute FUBAR. Now, I don't think TikTok is to be entirely blamed. I think there's a lot of factors happening here, and social media certainly doesn't help. But TikTok's definitely fucking involved. Not only are we talking addiction to apps like TikTok, we're also talking a mental health epidemic. Now, they're not the first generation to deal with mental health issues, obviously, but I feel like they have hit the perfect storm. They are in this strange echo chamber, let's say, of TikTok mainly, because this is the app they're using the most right now, that if you are feeling depressed and you go onto TikTok and you find something that is depression related, like a video, and trust me, they're out there. It is hilarious to see how many people talk about how depressed they are. Like, not in the fact that, okay, oh my God, it's so funny that they're depressed. No, they just complain about being depressed, and even though they're living these shit lives and they don't try to better themselves. It's the same with anxiety. And most of the time, these people are self-diagnosed. Maybe they're just a little bit sad or a little bit nervous. Maybe these are natural feelings. They're not actually suffering from the things that they claim. And this is what's making this mental health epidemic worse. People are finding themselves being diagnosed by TikTok with illnesses that they don't really have. And I know, as someone who's suffered from anxiety and panic attacks and all that shit for many years now, all related to my my epilepsy issues and all that type of shit, right? I have panic attacks a lot. I know what real anxiety and all that shit is like. And being nervous a little bit when you have to do something tough is not that. That is not anxiety, all right? An anxiety disorder is where you're sitting on the lounge and everything's good and you're happy and you're perfect and you are acting like there's a fucking lion next to you. When you're in these echo chambers, surrounding yourself with only people who think they have these problems, then your problems are cemented and then you really do have these problems. This has been incredibly noted with Tourette's syndrome. I know that sounds insane, but it has. We have seen an enormous spike in Tourette's related content. There's a lot of people with Tourette's who go and make videos, like my mate, Uncle Tix. He makes videos about his Tourette's syndrome. But this is insane. I couldn't believe this when I read this. Psychiatrist Kristen Mulaval noticed that the type of patient who began exhibiting tics had changed. She was seeing all of these people come into her practice that had Tourette's syndrome, but it was completely different to what she was used to. It had completely changed. Normally it was a boy who developed slow, mild motor tics, blinking or grimacing at about age 5 to 7, followed later by simple vocalization, such as a cough. Only about 1 in 10 of patients progress to the disorder's most famous symptom, cropopolia, which involves shouting obscene or socially unacceptable words. But now she had noticed this. These new patients were different. They were older. For a start, teenagers. And about half of them were girls. Their tics had arrived suddenly, explosively, and were extreme. Some of them were shouting more than 100 different obscenities. And she wasn't alone. Texas Children's Hospital reported seeing approximately 60 teenagers with sudden tics between March 2020 and autumn 2021. Remember, we're all in our homes, locked inside, addicted, compared to just 1 or 2 a year before that. There's even peer-reviewed articles on this shit. The same was noticed in London, but in this case in London, and this is what was very, very strange about it, they all had one tic in common. They'd never met, but they had one tic, a word they couldn't stop shouting. And that word was beans. What the fuck does that mean? Evie Meg Field. What does that name have to do with anything? Well, Evie has Tourette's. She wrote a book on Tourette's and has 15 million followers on TikTok. And her most famous tic, her catchphrase, if you will, is beans.
Beans.
I genuinely believe, because Tourette's is fucking rare. It can't be all these people. This is a mass sociogenic illness. It is infecting people through their phones. I know that sounds insane. The brain is a powerful thing, and if you're constantly exposed to the same stimulus, particularly like you have a fucking mental illness or a disease of the brain or anything like that, you will genuinely believe it. You will believe it. Like, to the point where I was convinced once I had acupuncture that they punctured my lung. They didn't. But I felt pain in the back there, and then I was like, oh my God, am I struggling to breathe? The same goes for ADHD. If you've ever scrolled through TikTok, you'll find someone talking about how they have ADHD. And that is the most popular mental health disorder of this century. Everyone's fucking got it. Same with anxiety and depression. Everyone's got it. It's glorified. It is weird. They then become obsessed with it, and they go down the rabbit hole. They're stuck in this echo chamber and they can never fucking get out. They're like conspiracy theorists. They just get sucked in, and everything is about conspiracies. In this case, about mental health problems. They can't find a way out because they're constantly shown new stimulus about their issue or about the thing that they believe about themselves. The same can be said for transgender people. I know that's fucking, people are mad at that shit. And no doubt there are absolutely, genuinely people that are transgender. They believe they were born in the wrong bodies, and they were. Happy to say that. But I think there are a lot of people out there who get sucked into these rabbit holes online, on Tumblr, and now on TikTok that makes them believe that they need to be non-binary or transgender to be happy. Okay, that's all I'll say on it. That's all I'll say on it. We have a generation of young people stuck in a negative feedback loop, and they can't get out. What's more, that negative feedback loop is owned by people who want to see us destroyed. I know that sounds outrageous, but China, as much as they may be communist, they are of a capitalist society. They want to be the rulers of the world. They have said this. They've said this. Okay, it's not just a fucking conspiracy theory. They've said this. The more that we allow our young people to fall into these dark depths, these unwavering depths that they just can't get out of, we become the victims. Our society is now infected with this victimhood complex that I don't know how we get out of. It starts with getting rid of fucking TikTok though. That's how it starts. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts down below. Be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East. If you haven't subscribed, do it right fucking now. All right? Thank you. Big motherfucker, peace in the Middle East, be dicks, do love well. Bye-bye.